Hello, Miss Alexandra, and congratulations on American Selfie. It's an eye-opening look at what America has become on an incredibly tumultuous year.
Thank you, Manny. What an endorsement. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. So first things first, what made you want to go on a cross-country expedition to check the temperature of America in American Selfie?
The purpose of this film was to make an artifact of 2020. How does America look? I wanted to take the temperature, reach out from my liberal bubble of Manhattan to go out into America and try to make friends out there, because what I have found has changed over the years that I've been making all of these films. This is my 13th film. What I found is that social media has really destroyed the conversation in this country. People are just getting these toxic feeds and making it everyone hate each other because they never have conversations with someone that they don't agree with. So if you're sitting at home in your liberal bubble and you get this nice liberal feed, you think, oh, I'm right, they're wrong. And then if you live in Texas, like I have a sister in Texas who, married a Republican, she's got her own little conservative feed, and they just read their version of facts. And that I feel like social media is destroying our democracy, and it's destroying the conversations that we're having. It's destroying our friendships and our relationships. So I wanted to go out and try and talk to people, say, can anyone have a conversation? Can anyone actually listen to somebody that they don't agree with and see somebody else's perspective? And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Now, on face value, though, the title itself is a bit misleading, right? I mean, American Selfie sounds frivolous, but look closely, and the documentary is forcing you to turn the camera around and put the spotlight back on you as American, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I started out at the Apple store when people were buying these new little toys. And I'm obviously, with a wink, saying, like, at this moment, there is a global climate march happening right nearby. And you're waiting in line to get the new thing that's part of what's destroying the planet, and why we have global warming is because of these devices. But anyway, let's not get into that. So I'm making this, like, you chose to stand in line to buy a new phone instead of going to the global climate march to protect the planet. Okay, that's a decision. I'm obviously making fun of people because they're taking these little toys and taking these selfies of their perfect little lives. Everybody wants to put on social media this image of themselves as being so happy and perfect, when really we're all so broken and sad on the inside. So the irony and the twist that I like about what happened this year is we were all using our phones to project an illusion. And then this 17-year-old girl took her iPhone and filmed the George Floyd murder. And then all of the sudden, by posting it on social media, we went from having this, look at me, to holy shit, the country is on fire, all because of a 17-year-old girl. So I think that the documentary Oscar this year should go to Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old girl that filmed George Floyd's murder. Because that, to me, is, you took this little toy and you turned it into a weapon. You turned yourself into a war photographer that was just filming what you saw with your own two eyes and showing the rest of the world. Because, cops have killed Black men before, but we haven't had any proof from beginning to end. I lived in Los Angeles during the Rodney King beating, all that, and people said, oh, well, you didn't see what happened before. It was on tape. You saw some guy getting the crap beat out of him, but you didn't see what happened before that. So now you saw the whole entire thing, and you could say, wow, I didn't know that happened. And that's why white America woke up, because they were saying, well, I kind of knew it, but I didn't want to believe it. But once I saw the proof in this video, I couldn't deny it. And therefore, that's why I think that this is now in the darkest year, and what's been the worst chapter in American history. We can look back and say, well, I'm going to inject some toxic positivity and say, well, at least we woke up. At least people can't deny it any longer. So that's the silver lining.
Yeah, there's a little bit of hope. So I'll ask you what you ask your great subjects. By the way, all of them are great interviewees, both red and blue. But do you think right now is a turning point in American history?
I hope. I really hope. But I think as long as social media is feeding us so much misinformation, we are doomed. I mean, I'd love to give you my happy, joy, and say, oh, it's all going to be okay the day after the election. Everyone's going to wake up and we're all going to move on with our lives. What I'm afraid of is that big tech, those billionaires that are feeding intentionally, they know that they're feeding us mistruths, but they're getting very rich off of it. And as long as they're doing that, we're all in a state of misinformation. We're never going to get along. We're never going to be able to be one nation. We're never going to be able to be one with our own neighbors if we believe all of the misinformation that's being fed on our news feeds, on our social media. I think the only way we're ever going to get along is if we all turn off our social media. That's the only hope for humanity, is that we turn off Twitter.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Correct. I love your passion, Miss Alexandra. I wish I could talk to
Thank
you
you.
longer.
Thank you.
But a big, big, big congrats again. And thank you at least for a little bit of that toxicity hope.
Thank you, Manny. Pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
My Miss Alexandra.
Love Manny. He's a rock star.
Manny's great. All right, just